Hi, everybody. Welcome to What Makes Us Human podcast. Hey, Pia.
Another episode of What Makes Us Human. How you doing, Ayanna?
I'm good, girl. I'm good. What are we
Yes.
talking about today, Pia? Let's get into it. I know you got something on your mind.
Yes, I do. So here's the thing. The other day,
Mhm.
I walked into a space and I just said, I said hello to everyone, but I said, hey, how's everything going? How you guys doing? And people got offended because I said, how are you guys doing?
Mm.
And I mean, to each his own. I'm not downing anybody, but I'm just wondering, when did something so seemingly innocent turn into such a big deal to people,
Oh,
right? And
yeah.
I mean, and I understand people want to be, they don't want to be labeled or called guys or
Misgendered.
girls, but that's where I come from. That's an expression. That's just a term of an endearment. Hey guys, you know, I apologize, but it felt like it wasn't enough. Like people were really, really offended. So I want
Hmm.
to touch on that and just this whole culture. Yeah, what do you think?
And it sounds like it's borderline on like cancel culture and like offensive culture. Like everything offends nowadays,
Mm-hmm.
and everybody is just uber sensitive, especially when it comes to sexuality and identity and
Yes.
all of that stuff.
Yes.
And it's like you can't say the right thing sometimes. You just don't even know
Yeah.
what to say. All right, let's get into it. Listen, these labels, all the alphabets,
Now,
okay? They got all the letters now. Okay.
well, someone just told me it is now LGBT qua.
Why?
Someone just told me that now the terminology is LGBT qua.
Qua. Oh.
Instead of LGBTQIA,
IA
which
plus.
was already a lot.
It was. That's a mouthful.
Um,
That's a
when I
mouthful.
was coming up, it was just gay. That's it, gay.
Right.
But
Gayer,
but
right.
now it's qua, and I guess that's so you don't have to say the QIA plus.
Okay. It gives it a little twang. It sounds like a little razzle dazzle. Okay, qua.
I'm really confused, right?
I
And
mean, I think in society, this is so interesting because I was just at my nail appointment and we were talking about The Color Purple, of which we still have to go see.
yes.
And for those that don't know, who didn't read the book or who didn't watch the original,
Mm-hmm.
spoiler alert, Celie and Suge Avery had something going on. Okay.
Yes.
Something of a sexual nature. Spoiler alert. They were lovers in the book, in the original movie, and in the remake. And there were a lot of people who were up in arms about the remake and how their relationship was portrayed. And I have yet to see the movie, so I can't directly speak on how it was portrayed. But my nail tech
Uh-huh.
told me that it was like a little spicy, extra.
Those people must not have read the book because the book
Right? Because the book was
into detail about
spicy and extra too. They
Yeah.
probably didn't read the book. It's a great book. Read it. Shout out to Alice Walker. But she was like, yeah, it wasn't subtle. And she was like, I just felt like the relationship between Celie and Suge in the remake was just a little bit extra. And it wasn't as subtle as the one, Steven Spielberg's version. And I said, well, it's 2024, honey. When
Exactly.
that movie came out, that was in the 80s, early 80s.
Exactly.
They would not have gotten away with two women kissing on screen.
No, they wouldn't. And if you read the book, you would see that the relationship went into more detail in the book.
Correct.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think I say all that to say we are in a season and in a generation where sexuality is pronounced and it is in your face.
Yeah.
And it is see it whether you like it or not, this is who I am. People wear their sexuality as a badge of honor. And it's very different than I think how some folks who are a little bit older or just from a certain generation, we didn't really march around with our sexualities on our shirts and a patch and a flag. Like, we ain't rock no flag to say this is who I sleep with. We just slept with who we slept with.
Yeah, well, I think one thing is it wasn't safe for us to do that. Our physical space was threatened.
Right.
Your jobs would be threatened.
Right.
Your whole life, your livelihood was threatened. And no, I understand, that this is a different era, and that's where a lot of young folks are, and that's fine. I think that's fantastic. But I think where I kind of where things kind of get blurry for me is when you criticize others and you don't give people a chance to fix their mistakes, right? Because um there are times when you might misgender someone, and it's not on purpose. You're not trying to offend them, right?
Right.
But that's what happens, and you say sorry, and people are still just up in arms about it. And now I want to cancel you, and you should be more empathetic. You're a therapist. And it's just kind of like, whoa, I don't think they meant it.
Right.
There's apologizing. Why can't we just move on from that? I don't understand it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there isn't a lot of grace in
No,
the
there isn't.
space of trying to understand each other. Like you said, I mean, you want to believe in everybody's absolute worthiness, and that people aren't intentionally,
Of course,
being disrespectful and intentionally misgendering. And of course, there are people
Yeah,
who exist who
yes.
do that.
yes.
But
they
for the greater majority,
but they don't apologize. They're not apologetic.
correct. No, they're doing it intentionally and purposefully, and they
No.
want you to feel uncomfortable.
Exactly. You know who's being intentional, and you know who's really apologetic for the mistake that they've made.
Right. And I mean, I understand language is important, semantics are important, labels are important, and people have the right to decide who and what they are and how they want to be addressed, and how they want to walk in this world. And they should have that right respected. But then I also feel like to what is required, it also has to be given. And I have seen members and individuals of the LGBTQIA, now QA community, be quite offensive when people are making mistakes, or people don't get it right the first time, or just not even being open to dialogue, like automatically assuming offense.
Yes.
I've actually had, and I've never talked about this, so I'm gonna talk about it on the podcast here in this space, and hopefully I do so with care and respect, not to offend. Disclaimer. But I had a friend who I was very, very close to, and this individual transitioned. And I was in full support of the transition, proud of them for deciding that this is who they wanted to be in the world, and then taking the necessary steps to do what felt was right and in alignment in their life. And very much protective over this person's heart, this person's life. Like, I want what's best for this person. And we had known each other over a decade. So I have known them in many, many walks of their journey. And we don't speak as often now. And still no love lost, but definitely a separation, because one day they came at me in what I believe was a little crazy. Like, this is somebody I've known for 10 plus years. And the individual transitioned, legally did not change their name, but asked to be identified as another name.
Okay.
But interchangeably used the previous name that they responded to.
Gotcha.
And so if I've known you for 10 years and I've always called you a name, and you still sometimes respond to said name, then you can't fault me when I use said name.
Exactly.
Unless you're like do not call me this anymore. I now go as this. And then afterwards, if I still disrespect that wish, then yeah, I'm intentionally trying to be ignorant, or I'm trying to be disrespectful.
Definitely.
But we never had that explicit conversation.
Okay.
And then out of the blue, it was like, yo, I noticed you still call me by this name, and I don't identify as that, and I haven't identified as that in years, and I feel like I don't even want to take, I do so much in the world of protecting trans rights. I shouldn't have to do that in my intimate relationships. I shouldn't have to protect my rights in my intimate relationship. And I was like, whoa, okay. And I felt like there was more behind it, and it was layered, but I felt like it was like, wow, you felt some way for a while, and this is the reason you want to come at me. So the person checked me, Pia, about calling them their previous name, and was like, that's offensive to me.
Even though they used their previous name.
Interchangeably, like it was still on their social media.
Oh, and it was still, okay. So.
Right. So, and most of the time I called them like boo, hey boo, or hey babe. Like, you know, I didn't all the time refer to them as a name, but when I would in text message write like, hey, so-and-so, they decided that I was doing that offensively and not respecting their identity. Wow. And instead of like, this is somebody 10 years worth of a relationship with.
Yeah.
Sit me down and talk to me. You know that I don't mean to. I would hope that you know I don't mean to.
Exactly.
But then they hit me with and you share old pictures of me. You share pictures of me that are triggering. I'm not that person. And so why are you sending me pictures? And I'm like, but we had a relationship for 10 years. Like, we had a friendship. We have memories. Should I not think about the memories that we had because
of you all together?
Right.
In the past.
So if it's because we used to work together, so we were colleagues and we were friends. So if it's like, oh, remember this, like, remember this staff retreat, or remember this holiday party, and I'm sending the pictures and I'm like, oh, but we look so cute on Halloween. It was like, why are you sending me these pictures? That's not who I am. And I'm like, so because you've decided that this is who you want to be in the world and who you want to identify with, of which I support it completely.
Yes, definitely.
It's now the person that existed before this transition doesn't exist. Like, are we burying it? Is it a funeral? Like, help me to conceptualize what is okay and what's triggering for you without immediately taking offense to my behavior. Like I'm doing it offensively. I'd never want to offend you.
And that's my issue. If this is how you want it to be, just let me know. Just let me know. And that's how I can operate, you know, out of respect for you, because I want to be respectful. So if respectfully, you don't want me to send old throwback pictures and memories of our birthdays and our trips, then let me know. But don't just take for granted that I'm doing it maliciously.
Right.
That part of your life is painful and it's triggering, and you don't want to rehash that part of your life. You're starting from here. Say that to me. So now I know how to interact with you. But
right.
When you don't say it and you charge it to my heart, you know, when it's not, it's not the product of my heart. Right.
Yeah. That's not my character.
No. And and it becomes offensive to you. Like, that hurts me, you know, because I'm trying to hurt you.
Yeah. Yeah. And I would have hoped that we could have had a heart to heart and a conversation and it not be the distance that it is now, but respectfully so. People have to do what they do and feel what they feel is best. So there is no love lost, but it was